we're all meant to be talking about campaigns. I thought I'm going to talk about the most important campaign, being a narcissist. I'm going to talk about the campaign of my life. Now, for those women in the room, we all know that we have to navigate rooms where there is a gender bias. But I also wanted to bring in intersectionality, women of color. I mean, we all are women of color, but let's be specific, black and brown women. So we also, on top of that, have to navigate all these rooms with all the sort of the race dynamics. And then, on top of that, for those whose religion is no longer in vogue, Muslims. And then, to break it even down, my parents are from Pakistan. And you end up waking up to tweets from people like Douglas Carswell that says all Pakistanis should be deported, irrespective of how long they've been in the country. And so you have to plow through your day with these waves and waves of discrimination. And as those of us who are old enough, I was born in 1977, we grew up in very hostile terrain, and we thought that progress is linear and things will get better. But actually, what we saw with the race riots last year, it doesn't get linear. It actually sort of is a little bit like that and sometimes goes back and so forth. And I think that's why space like this is really important. So people often underestimate me, and that's what they do when you're a woman, when you're a woman of color specifically, and when you wear flowy dresses like this. They think you couldn't possibly be strategic and have a view on geopolitics. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've learned along my way in sort of navigating and social climbing and all the sort of things I get up to. So I'm the CEO of Curzon PR, and Curzon PR is a Stratcoms PR firm. I've got two lovely colleagues of mine, Shashank and Letitia, love you. And we work with governments and with corporates, and we work with NGOs. And we've worked with governments like Ukraine, Spain, Finland, Guinea, Conakry, Gabon. We work on trade, FDI, culture diplomacy. We work with corporates like we work with SpaceX and a number of NGOs and not-for-profits like John Hopkins. And how do I get some of those accounts? Literally, I sometimes bring a middle-aged white guy with me to the meetings. I do, and they're very handy. I actually married one, and it's really good. You get sort of restaurant bookings and all of that sort of stuff. So I really recommend. Forget Birkin bags. And my one went to Eton, so double points. And so I'm also on the board. This is my sort of busy social climbing. I've been kissing a lot of ass, the last 10 years, and I managed to get on the board of these really impressive, like Soho Theatre. I mean, they're just full of love. British Asian Trust, that's King Charles's gig in South Asia. Halo Trust, our Chib is the sort of the former head of MI5. I mean, just fascinating people. CIPR, Asian Comms Network, and I teach at Oxford. I don't know how, because I never even finished my degree, but anyway. And what I wanted to talk about is actually, a little bit about Curzon. Our tagline is connecting worlds, because actually when you're from marginalized groups, what you yearn for is you just don't want to be the other. You just want to connect people. And then actually it gives us your superpower, because you see Group A and Group B, and because you've always lived as an outsider, you kind of intuitively know how to connect them. So we do a lot of work around connecting worlds, whether it's countries through trade or cultural diplomacy, corporates connect them with the media, sort of NGOs with the money people. And so 15 years I've been running Curzon with my, thank you, and with my co-founder. But do you know what? To be honest, the first 10 years was absolutely shit. Made no money whatsoever, and won all these awards because I was brown, and they had to give it to someone who's brown. Delighted, and also, this pre-ChatGPT, I had to do all the award submissions myself. But actually, it only made a difference about 5 years ago, and I'll tell you what I learned that made a difference. So what I learned, now this sort of stuff is going to be super basic, because when I read it in my 20s in BuzzFeed or whatever, I thought, but actually, this is the real deal. This is how to navigate life after, many years of navigating and like a hamster on a hamster wheel and failing constantly. And the first is, this is what my dad said to me, immigrant from Pakistan. He said, I'm not going to do the accent. Should I do the accent? Okay. You must work twice as hard for half the results. No head wobble, because my dad wasn't into that. And do you know what? And I did that, and I thought, do you know what? That's so true. And I worked my ass off and got burnt out, was really miserable. My husband was like, oh, God, should I divorce her? It's going to be expensive because she's got no assets, and I do. All of that. And then actually, but then when I realized, actually, that is absolute BS. You have to, you have to demand your value. And that led me to the second thing, is boundaries. Boundaries are so important. When you're from marginalized communities, you just don't don't have boundaries, you become a people pleaser. It's like, oh yeah, I'll do that for free, and oh no, you don't have to pay me now, and and all of that. So I spent 10 years getting ripped off, worst clients ever. Apart from any clients who are here who were with me in the past 10 years, they were fantastic, and it was a nightmare. But then what I realized is actually, this I got ChatGPT to do because I was a bit drunk last night. But I think it's pretty good. I think ChatGPT really nailed it. They said that boundaries are shaping the narrative of how we are treated and how we thrive. And so a lot of it is about taking ownership of your boundaries. And if that means you come across a bit of a bitch, so be it. Now, this guy I think is amazing. He's Canadian. Shout out to the Canadians. Yeah, that's you. And he's a Canadian, and he's written this book about how the body says no. And I'm 47, kind of going into perimenopause, and I'm realizing, oh God, how I've lived my life, my 20s, 30s, is going to impact my 40s and 50s. But basically, what this says is, don't tolerate toxic behavior. If it's your colleagues, if it's your clients, if it's the culture that you're in, don't go in, because actually, when you start getting into my age, it will start bringing in chronic illnesses. And so this book sort of was a massive wake-up call. He's got amazing podcasts. He's just such a lovely, empathetic person. So I would really focus, because in your 20s and 30s, you can just keep going, but you don't realize the silent sort of impact it has on your organs and how it plays out later on in your life. So be really critical. So it's really about valuing yourself, and it's about boundaries. And the final thing, it's about energy. Really tune in when you're sitting around people. How do you feel? Uplifted, or do you feel like a bit deflated? And it's not about time management. It's about energy management, and that's what I've learned. But I've got hope. I co-founded with our incredible board, and there's a number of our board members who are here tonight. Janita's here somewhere wearing this amazing luminous. Actually, both ladies in green and in yellow. I love it. And thanks to the Asia Comms Network, and thanks to Shiraz's support with us as well. So we set this up to build community, and also I just love curry, and my husband, sort of just feeds me pasta because he's Italian, and I just wanted to go out for Indian restaurants all the time, and that's what we do. But also a massive shout out to the Black Comms Network. They inspired us. They were launched after the George Floyd Network, and they were always just incredible the way that they organized themselves around that and championed community. And we were watching Black Comms Network for a really long time, and we're like, oh, you do it, and oh, you do it, I can't be bothered to do it. And then when the race riots kicked off last year, we thought, do you know what, we need to do it. And that's what happened. And thanks to people like us, Socially Mobile, Creative Access, Intercoms, LGBTQ, Women in PR, Taylor Bennett Foundation, PRCA's REEB and CIPR's D&I, for holding the line against the DEI backlash, which is happening. And I think we are brave, and I think that the time that we spend now is critical, because what they say in America, they get ill and then we get a cold or something like that, but we just don't want the disease. So let's just hold the line on the DEI backlash. And then this is just a little picture of my little daughter. She's half Italian, it's ethnicity, half Pakistani, and I'm sort of already teaching her as a woman of color, although she's a bit white passing, she's a bit lucky there. She is like teaching her how to navigate power and influence, where men would probably think, oh, well, quite nice if a woman's a bit decorative and she looks sweet, but you open your mouth and you start criticizing, and you see a totally different view. So she's my little world and my hope. And I just want to thank everyone for being here, because every single one of you have taken time out to come to a diversity network. Huge shout out to the white people. Love white people. I married one. Because you didn't have to be here, right? You're just like, oh, angry brown black people. Do I need to be there? Feel guilty, but thank you. Save us, please. And also, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, because actually you're making the world better for a daughter like mine, and her name's Isabella. And thank you.